There's plenty more where that came from.
I have finally abandoned my human form and evolved into a new, far superior being.
If you don't want to fight, well then, what's the point of having a Zoid at all?
Game over. The user wins.
Greetings, people of the first quantum. My power be upon you.
So Greg, I mean, I'm not sure if I need to tell you this, but some of your shirts are kind of crappy. I mean,
What do you mean by crappy? They got like a sweet little pocket right here.
I mean, they
That's
could be better. I mean, there's a place I know where it has lots of cool stuff.
yeah, but how cool?
We're talking about AAA cool. We're talking about shirts from 86.com. They're a pretty cool site. They sell all types of merchandise, including t-shirts, keychains, and other cool stuff that they sell on their site. And also have awesome video game material as well, such as Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, BlazBlue, Smite, and 86's own brand of t-shirts as well as other stuff. Recently they put out some new keychain for Street Fighter 5. So yeah, there's some awesome stuff there. So I'm just suggesting, next time you go out and buy a shirt of any kind, I suggest check out 86.com. And if you want to support us and them at the same time, please use this link in your web browser to check out 86.com. Put in www.86.com !AFF equals 4. Again, www.86.com !AFF equals 4. This link will tell them that we sent you and that we're cool with them as long as you're cool with us. Thank you and enjoy the show. So Greg, I mean, I'm not sure if I need to. Hey guys, sorry about that. Give me one quick second. As per usual, where is my? Hang on, my webcam is like literally right in front of what I need. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yes. Music. Let me turn that down just a little tad. Anyways, hi guys. It is me, your host, Anthony Beyond from Mission Star Podcast, with another episode of Mission Star Podcast this week. Joining me, as always, is none other than Greg Dietz. That's very, very ecstatic.
I was planning on having a little speech for like a second. Because I've recently come into contact with people who like to do this fun little thing that I used to do. I was guilty of it when I was younger. And not just even younger people my age, but they hear of something that they don't like and they immediately go, it's bad. And that irritates me. Something I like to point out on this show, my stream and all sorts of stuff, I don't care. It's fine. If you like to make an offhanded joke about, oh, well, Game of Thrones is bad because, I don't know, there's castles, and I don't like castles. Like, some shit like that, I don't care. That's fine. But the second that you start going, well, it's bad because of blah, blah, blah reason, and you're, like, dead serious, you can stop. Straight up, you can stop. Because what you're doing is you're forcing your opinion on others. You're not just giving your opinion on why you don't like something. Now you're giving your opinion on why everyone else should share your opinion. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. But speaking of bad stuff and bad opinions, although this one's kind of justified, as we get into the news, one thing I guess, as you can tell on my right or left of me, Mighty Number 9, as if there was one last like FU to the Kickstarter people who kickstarted the game or backed it. There was this video that was going around the internet, and it is a video of the guy just received his backers reward in the mail, and it was mailed in a package where it was the box and the manual like in a plastic bag, not put together, Like you had to put together the actual box itself, like the exactly.
Well, let's. I mean, first off, put together, and so what? If they promised you a box for your game and you got your box, you just had to fold it slightly and put the sleeves in, or to put the top parts in, top and bottom in. So
The thing though that
first place was decoration.
yeah, I mean, for its faults, like obviously this is the biggest thing that Mighty Number 9 had made its huge mistakes on. I mean, obviously it's the game
Also,
itself.
you can't trust a guy who uses vertical on his phone.
Of course. But it did show that it does show as far as people who backed it or as far as the game and how it went, it definitely even with its fans they did not treat them as well as they should have been, and because of that the huge
We're
back.
getting into that conversation. We're getting into that conversation, huh?
As far as
Because I say BS to that. Sure, the game wasn't perfect. Sure, the game had its flaws, but the developers did what they could. The game works. The game's fine. I've beaten it twice. It's a good game. It's not a great game. It's no Shovel Knight, but it's certainly not this giant hunk of crap that everyone makes it out to be. Not by a long shot. And plenty of people enjoy it. It's just the verbal minority that hates it.
I mean, I would also point out to the other reviews that also came out with it as well that were pretty horrible as well. So, I mean,
well, a lot of those reviewers are also Jim Sterling, and that they can F off.
Are you sure? Because the reviews that came out from a lot of gaming outlets were not good. IGN, Games. Oh, okay.
Yes, a lot of the reviews were damning on the game, and I think that goes in line with what we talked about a few weeks ago with Crash Bandicoot. Is it hard because you suck at games now, or is it hard because it's actually hard? Hard because there's defining characteristics in the game that make it difficult, or is it hard because you have a hard time playing games as an adult like you did, unlike when you were a kid? People think about that when it comes to playing games that have a classic aesthetic like Mighty Number 9. Plenty of people that I know that love Mega Man enjoy Mighty Number 9. Do they love Mighty Number 9? Probably not. Do they think it's a good game? Yes.
I mean, it's each your own when it comes to what games you like and what games you don't like. Obviously, somebody's gonna like Mighty Number 9, while others aren't, and it has a lot of faults in the game. There was I mean, if we go back on it, there was a stream I was watching where this group of friends were playing the game on first time on stream, and when they got to the first or second boss, the game literally glitched out on them, and they were using, I believe, the PC version or the PS4 version.
The PC version did release with some pretty bad bugs. That to say the game is bad. Do people say, "Oh man, Arkham Knight is a terrible game because it doesn't work on PC"? No, they don't say that.
No, but there will be a backlash for it.
I'm not saying that the development company, which I think is I say Inti Creates, but I don't. I think Inti Creates helped make it, but not the main company.
You're talking about for the
Mighty Number 9.
Okay. I don't recall. I know that it was developed by the producer of Mega Man in his company. So it might. What was? Oh, it was Concept. That was
Concept. Thank you.
Yeah,
Concept. Yes,
yeah.
yes. Thank you. I was like, I know it wasn't. I know Inti helped with some aspect. I mean, it might have been publishing, but yeah. I think not enough people in a lot of the reviews that I read, Anthony, straight up were like, it's not like Mega Man, so it sucks. To narrow it down here for you, to not get into a long-winded thing here.
Yeah.
And that irritated me. That was actually something I talked about on this podcast that irritated me. a lot of the reviews were, it's not Mega Man, thus it sucks. And I'm like, that's a real good, solid, fresh opinion. And a lot of the opinions from people who either A, didn't play Mega Man, didn't have a strong affinity towards Mega Man, would play it and they're just like, it's very difficult, but it's actually a really well-made game. And again, I've talked to fans of Mega Man. I mean, for Christ's sake, Half Empty Energy Tank is built on Mega Man. And so there's tons of people in that chat who adore Mega Man and enjoy Mighty Number 9. I'm just saying, the game isn't as much of a failure or as bad as it seems the internet to make it out to be. On that same note, when it comes to this box, to what I don't know what people expected. Did they expect the box to come folded to their door? Gonna have a game in it to begin with.
Well, I mean, like it's just the principle of there was a pre-order incentive. People paid a good amount of money to back the game, and it came with one of these awards. Where
That's another argument I have right there. Another big argument that you just said that I have.
Well, no, let me finish.
I'm letting you finish. I'm just stating that I have a rebuttal.
Okay. So it's just for people who backed it, for people who saw like everything that unfolded with Mighty Number 9 and Concept. This was almost like a final FU because they couldn't even deliver on a simple, an award tier that we're going to send people to, in its proper shape or whatever have you. And like, it's not the biggest thing in the world. It's not obviously just something that, that makes or breaks the company, although the company is no longer around. Like, it definitely is a kind of final footnote for the game and the struggles it went through, and just like the criticism it went through, like during its process of its release and the reviews and everything, backlash-wise as well.
Understand that when you kickstart a game or you kickstart something and you're getting a reward and the reward isn't the quality that you expect, that's disappointing. It's certainly not important, because if you're kickstarting a game for that one prize, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're kickstarting the item or the thing because you want the thing. You're not kickstarting the thing because you want the supplement thing. That's nonsense. If I go, I want ice cream, and then I get sprinkles on it, and the sprinkles aren't as good as I anticipated, I'm not going to throw the whole cone of ice cream in the trash can. That's nonsense. So to me, the thing to point out with this box, the thing to point out that I would say, yeah, that kind of sucks, is that the manual doesn't fit in the box. Half an inch taller than the box itself. That's what I would point out. That's what I would say is a problem, because if I was to nitpick, which is what these people are doing, it bothers me that this was a problem for people. It bothers me that this is something that are considering another, just a final FU or whatever, because again, if you look at how many people played the game, and you look at how many people are complaining online, it's the same thing with Mass Effect 3. It's the same thing with Andromeda. It's the same thing with any other game out there that has this damning internet effect. It's a vocal minority, straight up. And if you're listening to a minority for the status of things, then you're not reading news correctly.
Unless
I guarantee you there are people that were happy with that box. I guarantee you.
I'm pretty sure there's a good number that were it can, like, I'm on the side of belief that, like, if a game stinks, then it stinks. And you can have your opinion as far as, like, whether you like the game or not, and that's fine. I mean, I like it, but you did, and that's fine. It's just that, there is definitely.
It's not a conversation for right now, but I am curious what you didn't, or why you didn't like the game.
It's too buggy.
That's Anthony. That's not.
I just straight up did not like the game. Like, I played it. I tried it out. I got it on PC. It just did not gel for me. I play a lot.
Did you try it on anything else, or after the patch came out?
I tried it again afterward. I just wasn't my thing. It didn't jive with me. So maybe just a taste for me. Maybe it's just a particular taste I have.
Is this also why you don't write reviews on the website?
No, it's
vocalize.
no, it's not. It's not.
It is funny. It's
I vocalize through my podcast. That's where I give my opinions. But yeah,
well, it's frustrating to me for people to sit there and go to say it's bad and not give a reason for why they think it's bad. They just say it's bad. I can't.
Okay. Well, so long, Mighty Number 9. We knew thee well. Moving.
No, you didn't. You didn't know me well.
Moving on to the next news story. So this next news story. Speaking of, I won't say bad companies, but speaking of companies that are competing for your dollars, Dragon Ball Z Fighters. It was initially going to launch a beta for this week, actually, for the game. They were doing a closed beta. They were going to do it this week. They announced it at EVO, but they end up actually delaying it. This is straight off of their website. Give me a second here as I read it real quick. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, wait, I got a ton of windows open. Okay, there it goes. Okay. So, on the Facebook website, Bandai Namco posts, Bandai Namco Entertainment Incorporated would like to thank all of its fans for their tremendous support for Dragon Ball FighterZ. We recently announced at EVO 2017 that the closed beta signups for Dragon Ball Z Fighters would begin on July 26, 2017. Due to the volume of excitement and enthusiasm surrounding this announcement, we have decided to expand the capacity of the closed beta in effort to enable more players to participate in the program. We are also working to bolster our background system to ensure that the closed beta registration and selection process can accept the volume of anticipated signups. However, these efforts will necessitate a slight delay for the closed beta sign-up date, which moved to August 22nd, or from August 22nd, 2017, or this was sign-up, sorry. I am totally just dropping the ball in here. That's when the sign-ups happen, but the actual commencement of the beta is going to be on September 16th to the 18th. And the reason why I bring this up, and this was being talked about around some FGC higher-ups and, YouTube as well as other outlets, is that this coincides the same date as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and right now, which I have a follow-up story with the Marvel Infinite game. There is, it could be just what's the word I'm looking for? It could be just. It so happens to be that date that they chose, or to happen to have they had the time to do those tests. But at the same time, because the Versus series for Capcom has always been on, nobody has really competed against for the longest time. There never was another, a big Versus video game that competed against Capcom for the longest time. Marvel 2, Marvel 3, Marvel vs. Street Fighter, and all these other games they've done in the series. That's their thing. That's their shtick. That's their bread and butter. One of their franchises. What I'm trying to say is that Bandai Namco, in my opinion, I think is competing against Marvel Infinite in a direct way, the same way how Overwatch did against Battleborn, and how they did it.
So you're saying that it was delayed because of competition, or delayed because they're still working on the game?
Both of it, because the game that they showed at EVO was only 20% done. They're still working on the game. And
what evidence? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, what evidence do you have towards it being because of competition?
Because they're launching the beta right in the middle, right on the dates of when Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is coming out. Now, I'm not a detective. I'm not a.
So that's the delayed date, is what you're telling me.
Yes, that's the exact date of that's the exact date of when it's gonna happen. It used to be.
What I'm saying is that, okay, so the date was changed and the new beta is on top of that.
Yes.
Okay, but the whole game isn't delayed, just the beta.
Just the beta. Just the beta. The game is still on the...
Okay, so this is just competition. This has nothing to do with like delaying a game because it needs to be fixed or whatever. This is straight up competition.
Exactly, because there has been no other company that has challenged Marvel at its Versus series, and now we have like more. Now we have Dragon Ball Fighter Z. We just got the newly announced Blaze Blue crossover game. There just was announced at Evo. The spectrum or the the area of that type of genre of fighting games is suddenly appeared and growing. And now there's more hot seat on Capcom right now as far as like, can they deliver on what they are promising?
Right.
So yeah, this is, I think this is deliberate. I think this is exactly what Overwatch did to Battleborn, and I think this is exactly what they're doing, because there is definitely a big swell of people who are so excited about this game. People even outside the fighting games saw this or know the fact that this is happening, and they're excited. And that, obviously, the power branding, Dragon Ball Z, is a huge property and everybody knows it. But for to say that it was on purpose, I think it was. I think that this, straight competition, I think they're doing the exact thing that Overwatch was doing to Battleborn.
It's absolutely that. See, you said delayed, and I thought, oh, delayed because of programming issues, like they had to iron out some bugs or whatever, and that's absolutely not what it sounds like at all. Like, if the game itself isn't delayed and just the beta, then absolutely 100% competition.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that was one of the surprising things that came out in the past week with this game. And I can tell you,
they don't really have to compete against Infinite. I mean, it's at this point, people who watched E3, people who watched Comic-Con, people who watched Evo, I don't know anybody out there who legitimately is like, man, this Infinite game's gonna be dope. Like, it's not a very common thing to hear at all.
Yeah.
So
it's I think the word I'm trying to describe is like, it's good that this is happening. I love the fact that this is happening because not only is it creating competition, but then this is going to push Capcom to do something, they have to push themselves now. Competition is always a good thing in any type of market or whatever, because it pushes each other to become better. And hopefully this, will edge Capcom to say, okay, we got to step our game up. People are really liking this other game that's like ours. I mean, to even go down to the fact that this past Evo, Dragon Ball Z Fighters was literally like right next to the Capcom booth when it came to Marvel's Capcom Infinite. So like, there is definitely something brewing there. There's definitely, there's something competition wise that those two companies are going at it. Even if they're not saying it, I think that it's subtly like they're doing it.
yeah, no, I don't disagree at all.
Yeah. So, but to follow up on that story, give me a second. Hopefully this is the right one. Hopefully. I got these out of order, actually, so... no, I got the right one. Alright, awesome. Sweet. So, to follow up on that story, this is reported on IGN.com by... Let me get the... Joe Scribbles. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. And this is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's controversial Chun-Li being remodeled. The reaction to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's take on Chun-Li has been loud. Loud enough, in fact, that Capcom is now in the process of changing her look to appease fans. Speaking at a San Diego Comic-Con, producer Yushiro Ono said, the development team is hard at work at finishing the game for the September 19th release, and based off the feedback we heard, we are currently making improvements to Chun-Li as well as other Capcom characters. Since the work is still in progress, we don't have anything final to show you just yet, but stay tuned. Chun-Li's looks has become somewhat emblematic of the idea that Marvel's Capcom Infinite has been ill thought out. Capcom will hope that making these cosmetic changes will change or alter their perception. So,
too little, too late there, Capcom.
Yeah.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, so what they're saying, what Capcom's saying is that they're going to have a day one patch that it's also going to be a graphical update to the game as well. Now, one of the things I've from watching Marvel's Capcom Infinite, just what I've seen, and obviously the art is bad. The art is horrible.
It's not that bad. I would say
I would.
Really making, you're,
Okay,
you're making it out to be like the worst thing that has ever.
Let me step back. It's not okay. The Capcom characters look bad. The Marvel characters look great.
I don't agree. I think all the human characters look bad, and anyone who's not human looks great.
Yeah, or have a mask. They look fine for the most part.
Yeah, when I say human, I mean human faces. Like, if anyone has a human face, it's not animated or does not look well. The reason the Chun-Li one stood out was because her eyebrows looked just terrible. That was the primary reason. But yeah, like all the human faces when they animate or talk, it's like I talked about this last time we talked about it. Like they're just off. They're off-putting. They're weird. And I don't know. It's a weird day and time. The fact that game companies are releasing graphical updates or graphical changes to a game that on release day are not fully done yet, and it sucks. That's not. I mean, there's a reason that happens. Like, we can get into that conversation too. There's a very good reason why we're seeing it more and more common that a game gets released without being finished. And everything has to do with us. Everything has to do with us on that. We demand games on a timely manner. We absolutely get angry when a game is delayed. We hate not knowing how a game is going with its progress. So developers are forced to release games on a certain time schedule that otherwise wouldn't have happened in the past in game development before. It's a really bad situation that we live in when it comes to that releasing a game unfinished and putting out patches as the game's out is much easier and financially stable than the alternative. So before you go damning other companies, including Capcom, for that, understand that it's not their fault.
What I will argue is that I would say it's partially because of the people who want the game out early and who demand the game to out as soon as possible. But I would say that that's partially it. I say the other part would be the fact that financials, and for example, Mass Effect Andromeda came out when it did only because it had to meet its quarter financials in spring, and they needed to meet that, and they put it out early, or put it out when it did, and then
let's understand why that was the situation with Andromeda. It had to meet that financial spring quota because of us. Not just in that moment, but over time. EA and BioWare had seen a lot of different track records when it came to that, and had to fill that void.
It's not because of us, though. It's not. I mean, partially it is, but there's another reason for it.
Well, I mean, we could also go with how Congress back in the 80s had signed a bill that basically said that video games have to have a certain standard when it comes to the costing of a game, which is why they've never gone above 60, when realistically we should be paying 120 for a AAA title.
Yeah, I mean,
I could run down the list, Anthony. It's I'm not sitting there saying, hey, Capcom isn't at fault for releasing a trailer and or beta that had shitty facial animations for their human characters. I'm not saying that they shouldn't go and fix it, and I think it's a good idea that they do. Hell, I even at this point think it's a little too late. But that being said, let's not point directly the finger at Capcom.
I know. There's definitely, and this kind of goes on a much bigger issue. For the game industry at large, as far as like having games are not completed on when they release it, and then following up with these big patches, to fix them, or continuing to work to fix it long after, or even after its release, and then having like this big update to fix it later. It's just, I mean, obviously,
it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks to constantly get unfinished games and then have. I love Friday the 13th. I play it every single night. It's such a good game. But those first 2 months that it was out were borderline unbearable. It'd be like every 40 minutes one of our games would crash. Every 40 minutes we would just lag out of parties. Like the stabilization was terrible. The recent update makes it so much better. But we had to wait for that, and that sucks. But there's a reason why. Like, if you follow the money, if you follow the track record, you can understand why that stuff happens. And the point I'm getting at is, good on you, Capcom. Do it. Hey, fans, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, delays are good. Delays are a good thing. They may cost the company money, but in the end, we'll get a much better product. That's why, Tekken 7 took so forever to come out. But when it did, it is a fine piece of a game. Everything from the modes to what it includes, single player, multiplayer. A game is, graphic wise. I mean, a game was play tested the hell out. There was a tournament that was around that to even place that to its max.
Time out for 1 second. We got rated.
What?
I don't know if you saw. We got rated.
Oh, Heatwave! Shout outs to, sorry, I was in the middle of a rant, and I was just like, what? Oh. So shout outs to Half Empty for rating us.
Yeah. It was Slappy and Crits playing some Dark Souls 2. So I'm sure that Slappy and Crits throw everyone over here, so thank you guys so much for that.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. Welcome.
Welcome to our little late show.
Welcome to debates about things.
Oh man. I lost train of thought now. God damn it.
You were saying delays are good. You were saying that delays are fine.
Yeah. And I think you kind of align with me when it comes to that. So
yeah, I think I hate it when I see primarily on the internet from that vocal minority that it's all the developers' fault. It's all all that. It's like no, it's not. It's absolutely not. Like, you have to shift some of the blame on us. You have to shift some of the blame on capitalism. Like, you cannot put it all on Capcom's shoulders. That's ridiculous. And that's what I kept seeing with this story. That's what I kept seeing with, like, Chun-Li's face sucks! F you, Capcom! It's like, oh my god, really?
Yeah. So yeah, we will see when this game comes out. I think that Marvel vs. Capcom, Capcom has a big undertaking when it comes to fixing this. And if they can fix what they've said and make this game look better, if they can make the UI look better, then people will say different too. I think the gameplay looks pretty good, by the way. Like I like outside of just the visuals, the core gameplay looks actually pretty fun from watching some of it. But
yeah, it when I played at the beta, like it's a solid game. It doesn't play like other Marvel vs. Capcom games. It actually plays quite differently, which I guess has been confirmed by a lot of people who played it already, especially at EVO.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad fighting game.
No, not by Church by Imagination. It just now has more competition, so there's definitely interesting.
I 100% think it's gonna lose to Dragon Ball Fighter Z. 100%.
You know what's funny is that there was somebody putting out probably a prominent FGC person putting out a bet saying that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite will have more entries than Dragon Ball Z, and people took the bet. It's like, yeah, hey, I'll take you up on that bet. I am very interested to see how that goes. Marvel vs. Capcom.
Are you talking about for entries for EVO?
Yeah, for EVO.
Okay.
So I'm very interested to see how that goes. The thing is, though, with that is like Dragon Ball Z comes out in 2018. I want to say spring or June. So not sure if I'll get that numbers in time for it, but we'll see. I don't know. But it'll be very interesting.
I I guess Marvel and Capcom have less of a niche audience than Dragon Ball Z does. Um, Marvel does have a tremendously large more amount of fans than Dragon Ball Z, so I don't know. That is a good bet to take, actually.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be
in that fashion.
yeah. We'll see. We shall see as time goes on. All right, moving on to our next topic at hand. This is something where let me see. Hopefully, I get the right one. Yeah. Okay. Oh wait. No. Wait. No. Wrong one. I gotta guess here. Why didn't I do it right? Give me a second here. No, that's right. Okay, got it. Cool. All right. So the next topic, I think, for me. Yeah, I'll read it. Hang on. So this is reported by Eurogamer.net. This is by Tom Phillips. You need 4 amiibos to get everything Metroid Samus Returns has to offer. There is a bunch of cool extras to unlock in Metroid Samus Returns, but you can only get them if you have the 4 Metroid themed amiibo. The 2DS remake of Metroid 2 will launch alongside the 2 new Metroid amiibo figures, one of Samus, one of Metroid, and also be compatible with the 2 existing Smash Bros. Amiibo figures for Samus and Zero Suit Samus. For each of these, 4 will give you something extra in Metroid Samus Returns, and Nintendo spokesperson has confirmed to Eurogamer that quote, this unlockable content is only locked using Amiibo. First off, the new Samus Aran amiibo will launch with Samus Returns. The figurine of a crouched Samus will unlock extra energy tank for each use. After completing the game, you'll be able to unlock exclusive Metroid 2 art in the art gallery. Next to that is these squiggly Metroid amiibo, or squidgy. But it's kind of weird. Anyways, it's a squishy amiibo. This will let you reveal the action of any nearby Metroid on your map. Something that sounds pretty handy. After completing the game, you can also unlock a new difficulty mode, Fusion, and wear Samus' suit from Metroid Fusion game. And it goes on to what the other ones, which will include like a missile tank, and then like another costume. Hang on. Oh no, another special mode. Soundtrack. Okay, yeah. So here's the thing.
There I go, fighting with the internet again. Let's do this.
So here's the thing about this, that I'm okay with some attachments of amiibos, like putting out content or having some content on it. I'm okay to some degree. Like I don't mind. Like what was it? I think it was during the Summer Games Done Quick. There was a game that was being played on stream, and if you connected your Shovel Knight amiibo to it, you get to fight that boss, and that's awesome. It doesn't add to the game, which is a cool thing to do. I played the Splatoon 1 with the Splatoon amiibos that gave like extra levels that they were cool, but like at the same time I would like to have in the game.
So do people honestly believe that you aren't going to be able to play the new Metroid game without the amiibos?
No. The thing is, the thing about it.
So what the fuck is the problem?
The problem is that the fact that they're blocking off some of the content that you would think would be in the game, especially entirely difficulty mode. Hard mode is not found or in the game. You have to have an amiibo to put it into the game. So and it brings up the bigger questions, like how much of it do you really want your content to be blocked off in the shape of amiibos versus how much do you want that in the game? Ideally, you want your game to be done and fully packed with all sorts of game modes and all sorts of whatever. At the same time, I get it. Capitalism, I get the fact that, if you're a company who has the ability to use amiibos to make extra money, yeah, sure, you can do that. But at the same time, you're now just spending more money to get more out of the game. And I could sit here and like.
So I'm gonna take the opposite side of this, obviously, because Jesus Christ, when talked about Breath of the Wild speedruns, and there was the argument that using amiibos was like there was an argument about using amiibos or not, because some people can't afford them or what the fuck ever. Everything that they want to give you in the game is there. Some Metroid games, not all, some have had a hard mode after beating the regular mode. And if you're playing Metroid for the opportunity hard mode, you're not playing Metroid. You're just trying to boost your virtual dick. That's all you're doing. No ifs, ands, or buts. To say that it's like DLC found locked on disc behind a paywall is the same exact thing as to say that having DLC that, like, I don't know, like I said earlier, when a game comes out for $60 and it costs a lot more to make because that's just the nature of the world nowadays, and you need to pay more to have, like, I don't know, an extra character in a fighting game, it's not. The only time that I can see that being a problem, let's say the fighting game situation, the only time I can see that being a problem is if the character itself is OP. Otherwise, it's not an issue.
Well, yeah. I can go on
not a
about that.
problem.
I can go on about
It's
that,
not
but
a
yeah. Yeah, go on.
It's not a problem. You get this new Metroid game, which I'm assuming we're talking about the remake of Samus Returns, right?
Yes. Which...
You are getting the core game. You're getting everything they want you to have in the game, minus 4 things.
Well, the bigger thing for me, just kind of as I read that article, it's just that, I sincerely hope in the future that we're not going to have game companies who are going to block off certain modes or certain things that would complete
Anthony,
the game.
Until we're paying more for games, we're always going to be doing this.
Not to be hyperbole, but I don't want to be getting the next Switch game and I have to buy an amiibo to finish the game. You know, I don't want to have. I don't
think that'll ever happen. There's a clear reason why. That in itself is bullshit. To say, hey, pay $5 to finish the game is bullshit. You ever seen these memes that pop around all the time? People make animations that's like, I saw one the other day. I think you retweeted it. That's how I saw it. It was 2 guys about to play Mortal Kombat, and they had to keep paying a little bit of money to keep playing the game and then get into multiplayer and all that shit. And I immediately turned off the video halfway through because I was like, this video is absolute bullshit and not even remotely funny to me. It's not even funny to me because it's not accurate. Truth in comedy for me is a situation where, which is what they were trying to do. They were trying to do truth in comedy. Truth in comedy to me is a situation where you take something that is true, you askew it slightly, and then that's what makes it funny. They weren't doing that. They were quite literally trying to say through their comedy that you have to pay for everything now. Well, yeah, no shit. That's hey, guess what? Video games is an entertainment medium. You got to pay for your entertainment medium. Straight up.
Yeah. At the same time, though,
everything is fine. Everything is fine with these amiibos, Jesus. Like, yeah, so what? You don't get a hard mode after beating the game. Play the game and beat it and have fun with it with what you got. What's the point of having an extra hard mode? Why is that so goddamn important that you have to have a fuss over with an amiibo?
Well, to kind of give the old man
response. Please play devil's advocate here.
So to give the old man perspective is the old man's perspective would be saying that there's always been an easy, normal, hard in every game or most games in the game industry as long as video games lived. If we're going in a direction where some of these modes or some of these things that could add to the game, that could make the game even better, that may even become a better review for some people, that you got to get those amiibos to get the full content, quote unquote. Then we're coming to an age where that possibility may leak into other things. And
okay, Anthony, we've already seen it. We've already seen developers not know how to handle DLC or additional content within a game. We've seen it happen many times already, and those games had people dislike it or dislike them for that. The situation at hand with those, however, was that those companies learned from those mistakes, and other companies learned from those mistakes. And now the content that is being added through additional content, DLC, patches, updates, expansions, whatever you want to call them, is only a way for the company to sustain. Nintendo is looking for a way to keep money flowing in. Company, they are a business. And you getting upset because you have to pay $15 to play hard mode after paying $40 for the game is just that. And guess what? You get a cool statue on top of it. What is the problem?
That games should be completed and included in everything that they should be, because if they're not, then it's not a fully completed game. And I get the fact that companies need to make money. What
is a fully completed game, Anthony? Explain to me what a fully completed game is, because I can tell you right now, your definition will be incorrect.
Tekken 7. And I keep going back to that because Tekken 7, going back, it was delayed.
Time out, Anthony. Time out. Tekken. Just rough estimate, off the top of your head, how many characters are in Tekken?
At least like 30.
30? Okay. That is a hell of a lot of characters, first off. Secondly, do all the characters play well against every other character? Are there any OP characters?
No.
Okay, good. All right, so we've hit that point. How many maps would you say there are?
I'd say about a good amount of stages, but I'll say like maybe 10, I think. Maybe more than that.
That's a different conversation, Raver. Okay, so the next question is there a multiplayer mode, both offline and online?
Yes.
And is there a practice mode and a story mode?
Yes.
Have to pay extra for any of that, and that was just a $60 game.
That was all included in the game. $60.
That is a completed game. That is a full game.
Yes.
Where Tekken didn't do that. Where Tekken is you have to pay extra for content that was not in the completed game, or that doesn't make it a completed game.
The only extra content that they added to the game, and they recently announced this, are just... Actually, no, wait. Akuma came with the Tekken. So the only DLC for the game right now is Geese Howard and Tekken Bowling.
Are Geese Howard and Tekken Bowling indicative to the whole game not being completed? So I'm going to straight up say no.
No. Because it doesn't... Because you can play the game without that.
Right. You can play Samus Returns without the 4 amiibos. It's like I made my point.
It's a principle thing.
It's
a principle.
Real fussy.
It's a
What
principle.
is the principle? The principle that you aren't willing to spend a little bit of extra cash to help Nintendo out?
It's
to tell Nintendo, I really like your product and I'd like to spend more money?
It's just, it bugs me the fact that they have blocked off a mode on an amiibo. And you can say, well, then they need to make the money. They need, this is their way of making their money back. And I get that. But as someone who's played games for all my life, like seeing the fact that like if this is the direction that other companies is going to take and blocking off other modes into their products just to add on to kind of tag on to the price, because not only are you paying $60, now you're paying what, how much are the amiibos are, like $15-$12, like you're now paying around $70, $75, and this could go on to say, like, if the next Metroid game is like, hey, do you want to play these other different modes? We'll buy 5 of our amiibos on top of the game. And people will, because there's going to be fans that they're...
I'll give you an example of a company who is actually kind of regretting going down the path of like fully completed free DLC. I love this company. I love every game they've come out with so far. But Yacht Club Games. They said in a they were doing a Mega Man stream not too long ago, and somebody had asked like, how are you guys able to make these games without charging for them? And somebody opened their mouth, probably when they shouldn't have, and said it's actually kind of hurting us. But we are so appreciative of how people have seen our game that we feel this is the right thing to do. So I'll point out right there that giving free DLC, giving free updates, well, not updates should be free, but giving free expansions hurt the company immensely. Like I said, it's Congress from the 80s is the reason why we pay $60 a pop for games. Because with inflation, we should be paying a whole lot more. And the only reason that the game industry is flourishing as of right now, which actually it might not, it might actually implode on itself here very soon. Where was I going with this point? You complaining have to pay a little bit of extra for a little bit of extra is, I'd say, makes you extra. It makes you the type of person that feels that you shouldn't have the right, or you shouldn't have to pay for things you want. It makes you feel like, it makes you seem like you gave them $40 that you deserve all this extra shit, and that's just not true. People will sit there and argue, why don't we have a custom mode in Overwatch? Why can't we adjust the maps or create maps, or why can't we mod the game? Well, it's not your game. You paid $60 to play it. You didn't pay $60 to own it. And you should be paying more.
I think that we can probably talk about this all night, but I mean, we could, but like we have other news topics to go on, and
I'm really surprised that more people in the chat. It's just been Zump and Jesus like talking to me, and I want to respond to what they're saying, but I'm surprised no one else is saying anything.
Yeah, I hear it. But you know, I think that in the end, people are going to buy this regardless, because as I follow up in the next story, there's not a lot of stuff on the Nintendo Switch, and anything new people will gravitate towards and they will buy the crap out of. As in this point, give me a second. Did I have this the right one? Hang on a second. Give me a second here. So my next news story, yes, it is the right one. Awesome. So my next news story is that Capcom. Speaking of Capcom, the Nintendo Switch version of the Ultra Street Fighter 2 game that, which is basically a rehash of the 360 remix game, where it included a bunch of what was it? It was a Street Fighter 2 HD remix, and you can choose, you know, both old and classic sprites and whatnot. So they recently announced that they made $450,000 in Q1 figure for Ultra Street Fighter 2, and that was above their expectations. And because they also stated that if it sold well, they will also think about bringing more games of that ilk or other possible Switch versions to the Switch, which surprised me in one instance. The fact that there wasn't a lot of praise about this game, and it was like for its price and what it's offering, like it was not worth the money. But apparently it made enough. It made enough to warrant, like, hey, we did pretty good on the Switch. Just bring in the other titles to the Switch. Which, you know, to be fair, if they choose the right ones, I'm pretty sure that I hope they get their money. But what this tells me is that people who have a Switch are just fiending for anything new when it comes to games on a Switch. There was another story I didn't put in here, but like Splatoon 2 sold 5 times as much more than when they debuted on the Wii U. And then, you know, again, rehashing the news about Legend of Zelda and how much they sold. Like, it is, people are starving for new games on that console. So
Yeah, well, it's like I said, when we were talking about the Switch back when it was first announced and shit like that, and how they go, oh, they don't have a whole lot of games coming out right at launch. It's like it's Zelda, and that's on the Wii U. It's like, well, they're not trying to get you to buy a Switch right now. They're trying to get you to buy a Switch in 2017. It holds true.
Yeah, I mean, case in point,
And
E3.
The reason I point that out is because it's like, oh, I would like to play the new Zelda game on a Switch, so I'm going to buy it early. Or I want to play Splatoon 2, so I'm going to buy it at this time. Or I want to play the new Mario game, so I'm going to buy it this time. Like, it just seemed in that fashion, so...
Yeah, I mean, I will sit here and say that I don't have a Switch, but I would love to play Splatoon 2, and I would love to play the new Mario Odyssey, and I'd like to play the new Marvel X Rabbids game. But the thing for me that it's surprising to me, it's just surprising the fact that game just sold so well on that system, and it's gonna.
It's definitely interesting. I'll give you that, but it's not terribly surprising seeing how it is a 2D. Like, you only need a Switch and the game to play. You could play the game with one of the controllers. So. Yeah,
and people are using more as a portable device than a home console, which is.
My curiosity lies with Anthony. Just out of curiosity here, most people who play fighting games like to have fighting sticks.
There's no support right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what makes it to me more interesting that it sold well. People would want it regardless of that. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. If they would, if Capcom or Nintendo had a way to where you plug in a stick on the Switch, could you imagine? You could bring your portable system anywhere. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, just turn it on, plug in a stick, and you're good to go. Like, that is like some godlike stuff. Like, there's already some cool stuff you can do on the Switch right now as a portable device, but like, it just, again, it's surprising. At the same time, it also tells me the fact that people will just buy anything. Well, not buy anything. Well, actually, we'll buy anything for anything new on the Switch. Freaking even Bowerman did pretty well.
Yeah, I don't personally feel that people bought the game on the Switch because I'm desperate for a game. Because most people who have a Switch probably have other systems, probably have a PC. I personally don't know anybody who has a Switch and doesn't have other systems. But that being said, I do believe that the Switch is very low on games and needs more games. But I don't believe that people simply bought it because there's nothing else to play. I don't trust that at all. Subscribe to that. That's the word. I was like, I don't subscribe to that at all.
Right. We'll see. I mean, not we'll see, but like, it's just interesting just to see that happen.
I'll say this, Jesus, about that, the battery life situation. I had read that the battery life on just this controller, the one half of it, was 8 hours. It turns out it's actually 29 or something like that. And I imagine that a fight stick in that capacity could have a decent battery life situation, especially if it's that big, like needing to be that big.
It's a good point. I would figure it'd be fine. I'm not sure if it'll, because I don't think any stick drains like power from the console. I think if you're using like, I'll show it here, like a converter, like it could. I know that before I used Brooks, there was another converter I used that actually drained some power from the console. So
I will say this, with how much those Joy-Cons cost.
I
imagine a fight stick for the Switch would be insane.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Like at least double what a regular fight stick costs.
Yeah. It kind of makes you for that money. You can probably get it on the PC. Well, no, it has to be also on 360 vision. I mean, point being, like, yeah, you could do a lot more with potentially you could save that money for something else that'd be better for you than the Switch possibility. But yeah, in due time, we'll see how things shake out in the future for Nintendo and the Switch. Moving on to our next story, we got some specs on the Destiny 2, the Destiny 2 PC beta that will be happening on this month actually. This was on Bungie's website, but just getting back down to nitty gritty for those who are going to play on the PC, me included. It's the Destiny beta is happening. So people who have early access, I'm not sure if I have early access, but it goes from August 28th and then open beta for everybody else from the 29th to the 31st. They're giving players to play the Destiny 2 beta for 2 days who didn't get the early access, but early access you get 3 days, and which I believe the consoles they got 4 days, I believe. The PS4 and Xbox One version, I believe. A little interesting to say the fact, but like from what I've seen and heard, like it's nothing really too nothing nothing will carry over from the beta onto the full game. Again, showing off, what's going to be the full game's going to be, almost like a demo in a way. And also testing a lot of bugs and whatnot, including the multiplayer. The other thing they also put out is specs for people who want to play it on PC. So there is the recommended specs. I'm gonna get real nerdy here. CPU Intel. I mean, not to say I'm ready, I am, but CPU.
I like the way you say you're like, I'm gonna get real nerdy here about specs on PC. I'm like, well, yeah, you're gonna have to. That's how it works.
So the recommended is a Core i5 2400 CPU, AMD, or a Ryzen R5 1600X, GPU or graphics card. Could be an NVIDIA or a GeForce GTX 970 AMD, a Radeon R9 390, and the recommended RAM is 8 gigs. Minimum specs for people who are on the cheap, at least an i3, a Core i3, 3250 AMD, FX 4350, GPU NVIDIA. Oh, this is the graphics card port. Okay, so graphics card, FX 4350 GPU NVIDIA, or GeForce GTX 660 with 2 gigabytes of AMD, and or a Radeon HE 7850 2 gigabytes, and RAM is 6 gigabytes. So those are your minimum specs and your core specs and all that jazz. Destiny 2 is coming out pretty soon. It's in September, right? For Destiny 2?
Yeah, he'll give a link in a second.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll pop it in the chat. Hang on, let me pause you. Yeah, that game's coming out in that game is coming
out September 6th.
September. That game's actually closer than I thought.
I think that's, you know what? I don't know if September 6th is PC as well.
Oh, that's right. Isn't PC like?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, isn't like a month later?
Okay, Google. Release date for Destiny 2. Okay, September 6th is the initial release date. Oh no, it's on everything. So that's September 6th
really?
for everything.
Sick.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, sweet. But yeah, Destiny 2, there you go. People who are going to play on the PC, including me, more than likely, I probably will stream that on this Twitch channel, because I would like to check it out, see how it goes, and, have fun playing Destiny 2, because like I said, and I feel like I keep repeating myself, but it's kind of the mindset that I've been hearing a lot from, not just me, but a lot of people who played the original Destiny, that they're willing to give this game a second chance, and from the looks of it, Bungie is going to try to make up for those promises that they made in the first game into this game.
Yeah, like I said when we talked about it, was it last week or the week before? But
yeah,
we talked about the Destiny beta. I said I was very excited for it just because it felt like a much more refined and understanding game of what it needed to be in the first place. So
yeah, for sure. So we'll find out in due time. I will definitely play it on stream on this Twitch channel, and I'll definitely get to see my reactions.
On that note, I think that's simply because the game is built for console. It's built for PC, PS4 and Xbox One. So if they're just making like a transfer, essentially, it probably won't be too high on the specs wise.
Isn't it the core adage that you make the game and you have the game optimized for the PC, but then you downsize it to the console later, or is that in reverse order nowadays with game development?
I believe that's reverse order because consoles are much less in terms of specs than the PC.
Okay.
PC's always run better than console.
Okay. And for those who were listening, by the way, what Zum said, he says it doesn't sound too intensive of a game from the specs CPU wise. So
just hey, Bungie, don't do what oh my god, I can't think of the company that made Arkham Knight. Don't do what they did and outsource the port.
God, yes. Don't do
They
that.
are,
Don't do that.
they are.
I mean, they're working on it. They're working on it. Yeah. So, we'll definitely see in due time. Our next story, which is a very interesting one. I think that this one you will like, Greg, because Mass Effect Andromeda back in the news. Oops, wrong video. There we go. Okay. Back in the news, Mass Effect Andromeda. This was reported on PCGames.com. And this is by Kirk McKean. God, weird ass names. Mass Effect Andromeda was a financial success. EA have just released their latest earnings report, and it seems like Mass Effect Andromeda was a sales success despite widespread criticism. PCGN's Mass Effect Andromeda review, I noted its flaws, but still had an extremely good time with it, and it seems like plenty of other people enjoyed it too. Look into the future of that's their thing. I'll put the link in the chat in a minute. The EA's financials, Mass Effect Andromeda has held up to the title that drove the company's financials last quarter, referenced multiple times as a significant factor in generating revenue. Quote, year-on-year growth was driven by Mass Effect Andromeda sales captured in the quarter and by FIFA, unquote. CFO Blake Jorgensen explains. Digital net sales were 681 million, a new record for the first quarter, and up to 113 million on the year-ago period. The increase reflects strengths in live services together with our mobile business. In addition, Mass Effect Andromeda was a significant contributor. Full game PC and console downloads generated net sales of 111 million, a 32% higher than last year. This was driven by Mass Effect Andromeda sales captured in the quarter, unquote. And I'll post a full link in the chat for those who want to read it. But Mass Effect apparently sold well. Like it.
I mean, I don't know if the article said it. I don't think they did just now, but you know why it sold well, right?
The initial sales. I mean, like I would figure the initial launch and the hype of it.
Yes. I mean, Mass Effect has a huge fan base.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of how people felt about the third game, it still has a huge fan base, and a lot of those people wanted to play this game. A lot of people bought it. I mean, I even bought it, and I admit that Andromeda is not that good of a game. It's not a bad game from combat perspective. It plays well. It's just there's aspects that I hate about it, like genuinely hate. Like, okay, let me traverse this entire map in my truck thing again for the 80th time to get from point A to point B. Like, that stuff sucks. But dialogue is mostly terrible. But that's like mostly about it. I think that the underlining idea for the game is great. I think that I don't know. I'm not. This isn't about a review. Point is that the fan base was huge, and that makes perfect sense why it sold.
It's interesting to just. I mean, like, yeah, you're perfectly right. I think that the fandom did definitely help out with the sales. I think, and a lot of people are still, very excited about Mass Effect because, the trilogy that came out first, was great. Mass Effect 1. People were divided, but I liked Mass Effect 1 because I liked how it looked and how it played, and it was awesome. Mass Effect 2, I think, is probably the best Mass Effect game that they've done. Mass Effect 3, it was good. People can have their complaints about the ending, whatnot. That's whatever's fine. From that, people had a lot of high expectations for Mass Effect Andromeda when it came out, and when this came out, there was prior to that. Trailers. Prior to that, people were really excited about the game. Obviously pointing out the animation didn't look as great, but people were still excited. And this is all about the hype train, and people got into it, and they bought the game. And I'm pretty sure that's all because of what the marketing and the social marketing that they did at BioWare that sold this game. And yeah, they sold pretty damn well. So I am very curious to see what's gonna happen next because I recently read that like they moved the team that was working on Andromeda on another project. Although they brought back the guy who worked on the original 3 into the company recently as well. So I am very interested to see what they do next. I'm wondering if they're going to continue the Mass Effect series. Are they going to build upon what they? I mean, I'm assuming I didn't play the game yet, but I'm assuming the ending had some sort of like cliffhanger, or not cliffhanger, but like some sort of lead into.
Andromeda?
Yeah, to lead into a possible sequel.
Yes and no. Yes, as in it could, but no, as in like it ends and it ends. It's done and done. You do the last mission. That was one of my biggest complaints about the game. Is the ending sucked.
Oh, okay.
I could tell you why it sucked, but that's spoiler territory. Needless to say, the last mission you do is not the end of the game. The end of the game is basically completing 100%, and then that's it. Then you're done. There's no more, no less. Like there's the last mission, the last cutscene that kind of like, well, save the galaxy. But like because of the way the story unfolded and dialogue, it sucks. Like third game, there was a lot of intrigue with characters, and then you get to the end, and this big opus, poetic like. Every choice I made was an illusion, because my ultimate goal was this, and that because death is an inevitability of all living creatures, when I die, all the choices I made up to this point don't ultimately matter. That's poetic as shit. That's why I love the ending of 3. People hated that because they felt like everything I did didn't matter. No, it did, obviously, but it's not the point of the poeticness. Anyway, getting off track here. Andromeda didn't have that shit. Andromeda had an ending that was like, beat bad guy, save galaxy. Ba-da-da! And I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Plus, the dialogue felt like it was written by somebody who was trying to write a fucking adult novel, and I hate that.
Yep. So we'll see how. Well, I mean, I think that I'm very curious to see what they do with the series going from here on out, if they're going to continue it or not. I think that again, if Bioware and if they said an article saying like because of that game they gain a lot of money and much higher than last year, 9 tenths out of 10 more than likely they will probably make another Mass Effect game.
Well, as of right now, from what I've read, the series is shelved. There's no development of a new game right now. There's no talks of a new development of a new game. It's to a lesser extent dead in the water.
Right now, yes.
So,
yeah, right now,
right
yes.
now. I mean,
yeah.
We might see something a decade from now, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah, and I definitely think that never say never in this game industry. Freaking, we got Beyond Good and Evil 2 happening somehow. So
So
yeah. So
nostalgia run rampant.
I know it never dies. It never. If you think about it, nostalgia never dies in the game industry because there's always a game that
doesn't die anywhere. If it's an entertainment medium, guess what?
Yeah.
Like the Undertaker.
Oh man, don't remind me. I watched that. That hurt, man. Just the way that ended. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, well.
Last but not least, our last news story of the day. Give me 1 second as I set this or not news story, I should say. Last thing. Oh my god, it is right behind my webcam. Give me a second here.
I don't know how people saw fireworks, but they're going off. I don't know if you can hear them.
Really? Why is there fireworks going on?
I have no idea.
Huh. Alright, well, I guess they're excited for this next,
I am.
Oh yeah, of course you are. Hang on a second. Is that gonna get us? Is that gonna reach? Is that gonna hear? No? No?
What's happening over there?
Oh my god. I gotta fix this. Okay, well, alright, hang on. Backup plan. Backup plans.
I'm not sure what's happening.
Basically, I was trying to play the Overwatch theme off my mixer, and it wasn't doing that.
Is that because you're using the Switch app and it's just everything's all wonky?
It's also because I reformatted my hard drive, so I have to fix everything with my mixer. Anyways, here is your Overwatch Minute with Greg Dietz.
So, the first thing I want to talk about is actually pretty interesting. So you've heard of the HGC or HCG, right? Is that what it's called? It's the it's basically the Blizzard like competition thing, like internal competition thing.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, players who play Overwatch, competitive players, can earn a minimum salary of $50,000 per year. So I have the list of all the things that it says. I'll just read this real quick. To offer a better understanding of what players can expect from a career in the Overwatch League, here are a few key benefits included in the Overwatch League player agreement. Teams will sign players to 1-year guaranteed contracts with the option to extend the contract for 1 additional year. The minimum salary for players is $50,000 US per year. Teams will provide players with health insurance and a retirement savings plan. Teams will distribute at least 50% of their team performance bonuses, i.e. money from winnings, playoffs, and other league events, to their players directly. Total bonuses available for Overwatch League terms in Season 1 will amount to $3.5 million US, with a minimum of $1 million US rewarded to the Season 1 champion. Why are you dabbing?
Oh, no, I wasn't dabbing. Oh, no, go on.
Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
For like a second.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Firstly, we know there have been questions about roster require. Okay, that's required. Okay, so here are a few important rules that will affect Overwatch League Season 1. Each team roster must have at least 6 players with no more than 12 total. There is no region locking in terms of the place of birth or home of country for any player. Teams will provide player housing and practice facilities during the season, which will meet professional standards set by the Overwatch League. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was neat that it's almost being treated like an actual sporting event.
It's really cool. It's really awesome. And on top of that, recently, there was an article recently going around that detailing more about the Overwatch League, and as far as like people will actually get paid salaries and have benefits and have health and all that good stuff that a normal player would have in the other major league sports league, which is cool and awesome. It made some of my friends is like, man, I wish I played more other games or Overwatch than fighting games. So it's cool. It's awesome. I love it.
The new anti-griefing system is awesome. Basically forces people to understand why they are being punished versus just straight up being banned. And then understand and basically telling them like, if you don't want this, then you can do things to fix it, essentially. Plus, it allows you as a player to have better control over who you play with. And this is an Overwatch primarily, and I think it's only on PC right now. They're trying to bring it to console, but we'll see.
Cool. So
there was a recent update in the game, big ol' update, and the update brought Doomfist to the main server, to the primary servers, so everyone could play as Doomfist, or as I like to call it, race to Doomfist in quick play.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've gotten to play him a couple times, and he's hard. He's hard to play because most characters that have to get into the mix, have to get up in people's faces, die pretty quickly. And Doomfist has no armor. He's just 100 or 250 health. That's it. Like if you do a combo charge uppercut down strike thing, yes, you will annihilate a team. However, shortly after doing that, you better back the hell up quickly to a teammate or a healer, because you're going to become a bullet sponge.
Oh yeah, I could tell. If you, especially when playing him in PTR, you can get a kill on a character easily. but you kind of use up all your resources to do that. And yeah, you're kind of left kind of naked after all of it. So
Yeah. The way that I see him being used in a very useful manner is like if you're attacking on, let's say, Eichenwald, and they got a Reinhardt right at the gate, and your team can't get past that Reinhardt. All right, your flex player switches to Doomfist, does a charge punch, gets up in there, does a couple uppercuts, scatters the team a little bit, and then the rest of the team kind of handles business. I see that as an option. But as like a somebody who's like, I'm main Reaper, I don't see anybody doing that with Doomfist. I just don't. But
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm still waiting for high level Doomfist. Maybe there's some high level Doomfist I didn't see yet, and people are playing them right now. But I want to see it on the big stage. I want to see it been used like in like BlizzCon or other like big online events, just to see exactly how they use this character.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting. Also, on a side note, I wanted to throw out there that in the update for PC, not for console, weirdly enough. Actually, no, it was an Xbox leak. What am I talking about?
Oh.
So right after that had come out, people had seen achievements for Lucio Ball. When Lucio Ball first came out, Lucio Ball being the first event, or Summer Games event, that was the first event that Overwatch ever had, followed shortly by the Halloween event. The Halloween event was the only one to have was the first one to have achievements. Lucio Ball didn't have achievements. Well, now it does somehow. That means one of two things. It's coming back. I mean, that's probably exactly what it means. Or it's coming back as its own game type. Like an individual game type that'll be in rotation.
Ooh.
Yeah, like that's going to be interesting. So it'll come back as an event or its own game type. We'll see. But Lucio Ball's coming back as because achievements got leaked on Xbox. The other interesting thing, and this was fascinating, people had noticed that in where was it? Let me find it. Hang on. Damn it. Okay. In the custom game browser, people were seeing the Lucio Ball map, which is Estado das Rios, if I'm going to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Because I don't speak Portuguese. So the Lucio Ball map is in custom. They can't choose it, they can't select it, but it's totally there. So I really hope that there's like zero gravity Lucio Ball. That'll be fun.
Part of me wants to say that I think the reason for Lucio Ball coming back possibly is that the World Cup is coming up pretty soon. Like it's
if they have a World Cup Lucio Ball like tournament, that would be amazing, but I don't think so.
I would say, I mean, it could happen only because like partially when they
I hope it happens. That sounds fantastic. I don't know. I don't see it being like maybe a side thing that there's prizes, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be pretty awesome, pretty sick.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could only imagine the ideas though too. Like, can you imagine you're playing Lucio Ball and like say that certain characters are aligned with certain teams in the World Cup?
Could you imagine making invincible Doomfists, putting their speed a little up, and their gravity maybe a little low, and then saying so they can jump a little higher?
That'd be nuts. That'd be
oh my god!
That'd be the craziest mode ever on Blizz.
That's the reason the map being in the custom games is exactly why people think it's coming back as a permanent game type, not just an event, not just a single solitary thing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty awesome.
If that is the case, which I certainly hope it is, then also what that entails is Junkenstein's Revenge coming back as a permanent thing, and them having another event, a different event that's not Lucio Ball for the summer. I'm spitballing here. I'm excited.
Yeah, foaming at the mouth per se.
Love me some Overwatch, even though I've been playing the crap out of Friday. It was like, hey, Thursday is here. Let's play some Overwatch, play some Doomfist, and then we played them. And we're like, so Friday the 13th, huh? some camp counselors and or not die from Jason.
Hilarious. Anything else, or was that it?
That was it for this week. Yeah, that was the big thing. The news thing that I go to kind of talked about. Let me go back to it real quick, 'cause there was another article, but I don't think it. I just skimmed over because I didn't think it was important. I lost the ability to charge through things. Okay.
All right, awesome.
That's important, actually. This recent update has Diva and Genji yell out like voice lines that say they canceled somebody's alt.
What?
Instead of somebody throwing their alt and Diva absorbing it or Genji reflecting it, they'll now know by the other player saying something louder. Like Diva already says something, but it's no different than any other projectile.
Really?
Plays Zarya a lot. Yeah, he'll try to use his graviton surge, and Diva will absorb it, and he's just like, "Wait, did she absorb that?" He has no idea. So it's the only assumption that she absorbed it.
Ooh.
So now it won't be the case. They'll just she'll DGG, blah. And Genji will be like, I reflected it back at you, haha, I'm a ninja.
I will keep an eye on that. That intrigues me a lot. I might have to look into it, actually, honestly. That sounds interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, when it was that Reinhardt early development, he was able to charge through walls. They were like, no, let's change that.
That'd have been cool. I'd love to do that. Awesome. Well, that has been your Overwatch Minute with Greg Dietz, and the end of our show. Right on time too. But that video music just ended right now. Perfect timing. So thank you guys for joining us for tonight. Before we go out, wait, hang on. I think it's still playing. Okay, yeah, it's okay. Sorry. Greg, where can I find on the internet?
You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook under Chub Rock Geek. I unfortunately don't do a whole lot of Facebook and Instagram just because I am a terrible social media person. I'm old and I don't understand newfangled technology. No, I'm just terrible about it, but definitely follow me on Twitter. I do tweet out things frequently or retweet things that are fun. You can find me every Saturday night on Half Empty Energy Tank. As of right now, we are attempting to raise money for a streaming PC for me. So if that's something that you're interested in, come to twitch.tv/halfemptyetank or HEET.tv to join the stream and have some fun. I think this upcoming Saturday I'm going to play more Shovel Knight. There's a reason behind it, but I'm not going to get into it. But other than that, it's been the summer, it's been busy, but I will try to get to some reviews here soon. I really want to write an article I've been wanting to write an article about backtracking in video games and how they work and if they're good or not. But I haven't got around to it, so maybe I'll try to do that before I have to go back to work for school.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, look forward to that on the website.
Cool. Awesome. You can follow me on Twitter at Defective Naruto. You can follow the work that we do at MissionStarPodcast.com. And our end slide here. If you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoy watching it on here on Twitch, would you hit that follow button if you're here. Or if you like listening to us on the go, check out Mission Star Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. We upload this every Tuesday. And on our website and on our SS feeds, so you can take it on the go, listen to our thoughts, and hey, maybe you're working out and you want to hear what Greg thinks about Overwatch or my thoughts on TBC fighters or whatnot. Who knows? definitely
pretend to be smart, but I'm not.
definitely check it out. It's on there every Tuesday. If you enjoy our thoughts on conventions, talk about experiences, and recently we've been uploading panels, interviews, and other stuff onto the Conover RSS feed as well. It's on iTunes and Stitcher. Recently, we just did a podcast on Comic-Con from the guys at Rolling 20s. They sat with me, they virtually sat with me and talked about their thoughts about this year's Comic-Con, and definitely a great podcast to go check out. It is on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as on our website under the podcast section in the Conover section of the site. And speaking of the Rolling 20s, they have their own podcast, which they conduct any sort of nerdy stuff, which includes video games, anime, comic books, movies, entertainment, all that stuff in one big podcast. You can check them out as well on our website, as well as on iTunes and Stitcher for your weekly Rolling 20s podcast. They usually upload every Friday, and they are doing their own podcast on Comic-Con as well. So definitely, if you want to get more out of what the Conover podcast about Comic-Con out of it, more Comic-Con stuff, check out the Rolling 20s. And my talks from them from this past Conover episode makes me really, really jealous that I didn't go. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Sorry about the lateness. Oh, I should mention one other thing. So before we go, thank you for the follow, Little Zump. He was in here earlier, and he gave us a follow. So that's awesome. Also, thank you to the host earlier by Half Empty Energy Tank. Thank you if you guys are watching on that channel right now. Thank you very much for the host, as always. Anyways, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.